Hi, everybody. Steve Tarter, another edition of Tarter Source. Beautiful day in downtown Peoria. And with me in the studio today, happy to have Dr. Eileen Setti, the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Methodist College.
Thank you.
Eileen,
Good afternoon.
thank you for coming down. I know you're busy with all kinds of things. You've got a new program to talk about. Give people, if you would, a little background on Methodist College, because I'm sure most people are aware of it, but let's bring them up to speed.
I'd be happy to, because I think our community really knows us as Methodist College of Nursing. We've been a nursing college for over 100 years and are happy to report that we have educated the region's best nurses for over 100 years. But we are more than nursing now. We are still core to healthcare and human services in our mission, but we have added degrees in health sciences, so for folks who want to go into healthcare management or administration, working in hospitals or nonprofit organizations. So we have 2 baccalaureate degrees in health sciences. We've added a bachelor's in social work, and we think of, because we think of Methodist College as healthcare, we think of social workers who work in healthcare settings, which we're certainly educating professionals to work in healthcare settings, but it's a generalist program. So social workers that are working in schools or with older populations, working with children or anybody really who needs help is where we are training our social workers. We also have a medical assisting program. That's a certificate program, and I think a lot of people don't know what a medical assistant does, even though we've probably interacted with a medical assistant. Sure. When we're sitting in the physician's office and the doctor's office, and that person comes out and calls your name and takes you back to weigh you and measure you and take your blood pressure and take your history, that very often is a medical assistant. We think of them as a nurse, but medical assistants work in clinical settings, so in hospitals and in clinics and offices. They also do administrative work. So often when you are scheduling an appointment or somebody's helping you coordinate appointments with other providers, that's a medical assistant. And medical assistants also work in medical labs, so they do a lot of testing and reporting and communicating back.
And these are all jobs you just detailed that are in demand.
Absolutely. Every single one of them in our region is in demand. That's one of the great things about Methodist College is that we are really providing such a wonderful service for our community. Our new degree, the Medical and Life Sciences degree, is a bachelor's degree. And I like to think of it as a choose-your-own-adventure type of a program. It's really great.
That sounds a good way to go to college.
It is. So if you want to earn a bachelor's degree, so usually that takes you 4 years to complete. The bachelor's in medical and life sciences would prepare you for careers in a medical lab, so you would be more in the supervisory status with a medical assistant working in labs. So you could work in a medical lab, you could work in environmental protection, public health, which is a big need right now. You could even go on, like if you wanted to pursue a career in law. But you also have different paths if you wanted to go into medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, or become a physician's assistant. So this degree would also prepare you for an advanced degree. So
kind of a gateway into
is.
any number of things. How long is it? How long will it take to get that?
So it's 120 credit hours, which is a standard baccalaureate program, and you can complete it in 4 years. You can come to Methodist for all 4 years. We'd be happy to have you. We have a wonderful student apartment building, which, let me tell you, it's nicer than anything that I lived in when I was in college. They come fully furnished with leather furniture and granite countertops and stainless steel appliances and
right
hardwood
there near
floors.
The college.
It is right in our backyard out by Grand Prairie Mall. We can have students for all 4 years, or we'll take transfer students. So maybe you've completed an associate's degree at a community college. We will transfer in those credits. Or if you have, and this is quite often the case with many of our students, kind of a hodgepodge of credits. Maybe you haven't completed an associate's degree, but you might have dual credits from high school or a smattering of credits from different community colleges. We will evaluate those and transfer those in as well.
Yeah. Now, Eileen, will this start this fall? Well, when will it start?
January. You
January,
can start in the
in a few months.
spring,
Okay.
just in a few months. So the application deadline is December 11th. So you've got a little bit of time to get things organized. And the first day of classes in January is January 11th.
Now, one of the things that obviously every college is dealing with right now is COVID-19. How has that impacted you folks? Obviously, you're coming at it with a medical background, so how does that work for you guys?
Right. It's been a very dynamic last couple of
That's
months.
a good word, right? Dynamic. Okay.
Right. When you're educating healthcare and human service professionals, a pandemic takes on even a different type of experience. So we have been able to do some wonderful things with teaching and learning. We have many of our classes are online or hybrid, where students are spending some time in person and some of their time online. What we've been able to do is take it a step further. All of our classrooms have been outfitted with cameras and microphones. So if you're able to come to class, you can come to class and be in person with your faculty member. If you are on a COVID quarantine, or you have kiddos at home that are are going through homeschooling and you need to be with them and you need some flexibility, you can attend class through Microsoft Teams. You can see the instructor and the whiteboard and the PowerPoint. Everything is projected. Your classmates in the classroom can hear you when you speak, and you can hear them. So you can participate in class.
Even though you're not there.
Even though you're not home. And you could be wearing your fuzzy bunny slippers and nobody will know. So it's a great opportunity where we can offer some flexibility for those theory classes. We're still running clinicals. Of course, we're part of Unity Point Health, and so we have all of our students across our programs are doing clinicals at Unity Point Health and other partners across the community. So, I think it's our motto really has been flexibility and grace, really working with students and trying to meet them where they are and the learning needs that they have during the pandemic.
I would guess, and again, you just detailed when you were talking about the new degree. And by the way, what do you call that degree?
It is a Bachelor's of Science in Medical and Life Sciences.
Okay.
The MLS.
The MLS. And people can get more info probably at your website.
Go to our website, and you can go right into into the application section, and you can get all sorts of information about the degree, the expectations, the admission standards. It's all right there on our website.
And what I was going to say was that given that that has projected all these many jobs, as you say, pathways for this, that, things that aren't necessarily. You mentioned law. I mean, you could just cruise right into some other field. And I'm guessing the pandemic opens up, because we've all had to change, we've all had to adapt, we've all had to see so many different things going on, and we don't know for how long. Right. What's the impact of that on healthcare? Because is it a strain? I mean, you folks are developing people to go into the field and take care of us. The rest of us, probably more demand than ever, right? I mean, we're doing a pandemic. 200,000 people have died in this country, over that number. It's we don't know where it's going. I would guess there's a real mission attached now to what's going on over there.
Absolutely, and I think our students have always had this, just this calling to care for others, whether it's a nursing student and is caring for a patient, or a social worker who is going into counseling and working with folks who are in distress. Our students do have this calling and this desire to help, and so the pandemic just, I think, has kind of increased that awareness in our community and with our students who think I want to help. I can do that. And what I really appreciate about Methodist College, I do not have a background as a nurse, right? Nursing things makes me uncomfortable. That's why my degree is in political science and sociology. But there are people who want to help who don't want to be a nurse, right? And touch someone and do that kind of gross stuff. people are cut out to do that, and they do a great job at it. And I'm so thankful that we have people in the world like that, because it's not me. But for those who really want to help others and get involved in healthcare and human services, there are these other paths. Healthcare management, for example. The pandemic has definitely put a strain on healthcare and human services in our country. We need people who are managing procurement and developing procedures and policies and hiring folks and managing these situations. That's what our graduates can do in health sciences and healthcare management. So the pandemic has definitely elevated the need for frontline healthcare and human service workers, but there's this entire support team in management and administration that is critical to providing those services.
Well, it's like you said, the person that calls you in when a doctor's visit.
The medical assistant.
The medical assistant. It starts there, really. I mean, maybe it starts with the desk or somebody saying, what's your name? But that's the thing we all take for granted, I guess. That there's a whole team behind the doctors and the nurses and everything else.
Right.
And that's where Methodist College is playing such a big role. Give us a little rundown on, because I remember, I've been around this area a long time. Where you're located now, you've transformed it. But tell us, I mean, you were used to be, I know your previous home too, the Ramada, the old Ramada Inn.
Ramada,
When I was at Bradley, I lived on Greenleaf for 2 years with some other Bradley students, and I took the job that a guy had as bar boy at the Armada Lounge in the Ramada Inn. This would have been 1969 or something, a long time ago. But I remember Stan Marshall was the band leader, and that place was packed. The Ramada had that sort of wow. I looked up at the Ramadas. Of course, now it's long gone. You guys moved into it, and then now you take it from there.
Right. So we moved from the Ramada in 2016. We purchased the old American Furniture building just a little bit west of Grand Prairie Mall. Right. It is huge, and it's so much fun. When we have people come in for the first time, they often say, "I bought my couch here," and it's true.
It was right over there.
It's right over there. And so the building is it keeps us under one roof, which is so wonderful. And the design of the building, it's very spacious. It's very open. One of the things that we're able to do is we have a large simulation center. So our nursing students are, if you think about this, they're practicing their skills on high fidelity mannequins versus people, right? Like you want them to practice first.
Sure.
So our nursing students are engaged in the simulation center right along with actually all of our programs. We do interdisciplinary simulation because these professionals are going to work together in their careers. So we get them together as students working together so that they understand what the different roles are and how they are going to interact. We have a beautiful library, a Center for Student Success, which is our tutoring program for students who need a little extra help. And what is wonderful is that we only occupy about 70 to 80% of the building. The back half is still a warehouse. So we have room to grow, which is wonderful.
Have you been growing? I mean, as the time, you've only been there a few years. So.
Right. Since moving out, we have grown, and adding these new programs is certainly helping us. Our healthcare management and our health sciences program are online programs, and so we're pulling students from farther than our region. So that's very exciting. That's an opportunity for us to grow as well and expand that reach. And again, our apartments are right behind us. It's about 150-yard walk from the apartments to the campus, and it's a wonderful learning community. And I think students they appreciate that they can park and walk 25 yards, and you're in the front door. Your classrooms are right there. You have this beautiful simulation space. Our biology labs are brand new and they're state of the art. They're just wonderful, and that commute then, because most of our students are work, they have full-time jobs, they have families, they're they're part-time students, and so that commute then it's a wonderful place to learn, and so. It's just a great space, and then the artwork too. We were talking before.
Yeah, I was going to say
we talked about the artwork.
I was there when you had a program with Suzette Boulay, who, of course, many people know from this community at Arts Partners, previous president of it. But you have art all over that building, and of course, you have room for it because you've got all those walls, and you put more up. But it's great. It's very soothing, and you've got the opportunity to probably add more.
Absolutely, and that's Dr. Dyer, our chancellor, and Dr. Garrison, our vice chancellor of academic affairs. We're all scheming about how we could, what we could
next?
build, and thinking of our next programs. We have several that are in development that we're doing some market research to see, is this feasible? Is this an opportunity to grow? Of course, we're always communicating with Unity Point Health and looking at demands across the region. We're pulling students from about a 90-mile radius. So while certainly Peoria is near and dear to our heart, we're also thinking about what's happening in Springfield and in Galesburg and some of these rural communities, because talking about the pandemic and your question about how it has changed healthcare, things like telehealth it's revolutionizing how healthcare is provided. And so and
that's so needed.
It is
in like a rural area.
In rural areas
that doesn't have the medical facilities.
Absolutely, and that's where a lot of our students are coming from. So they're wanting to go back to their rural communities and serve those populations. So what do we need to do at the college to prepare them to do that?
Great. Yeah, telehealth. We hear a lot about telehealth, and I'm guessing we would have been going there anyway, but the pandemic probably sped it up. Because
absolutely.
Now the contact thing, and if you're older, there's a little sort of nervous feeling about, do I go out? Well, if I can do it here at home and in front of a screen, and get an expert to tell me things. That's a win-win.
Absolutely. My parents both turned 80 this year, and my father has some health issues. And when I heard them saying, "Oh, well, we have to get on a virtual call with Dad's doctor," I thought, "Good grief, you're able to do that?" And they can navigate that, and it's wonderful, because I don't want them out any more than they need to be. So.
Well, and you think of it. I mean, the things we take for granted that the healthcare system has always provided, which has been amazing. But when you get into making an appointment, first of all, you have to call, and the line may be busy, or depending on, of course, what the setup is. But you're just, you're forever kind of, the onus is on you to do this, to do that.
Yes.
If it can be made simpler, hey, I'm all for that. And regardless of your age.
Absolutely, because you want to remove every obstacle possible for the treatment and care of that person. If it's that phone, picking up that phone and you're on hold, that's another obstacle, right? Oh, I'll do it later.
Yeah.
I'll do it later. We all say that, right?
Right.
And so telehealth gives us that opportunity to streamline that process and provide the care that is so desperately needed.
What's the schedule? We're talking with Eileen Setti. In fact, we're almost. Our time flies here, Eileen. About Methodist College. What's coming up? Is the semester regular, full bore? I know Bradley's had to cut theirs short, or at least going remote.
We are full bore. We are not going to come back in person after Thanksgiving. We'll be all online for our theory classes. We'll still be in person for science labs and for clinicals. And then we are going to be virtual until February 1st. So we're going to try to create some space for cold and flu season. And then we'll come back February 1st in person. But we'll have that ability to beam people into the classroom if they need to.
Somehow, well, I mean, of course, it could be aggravated by the pandemic, but somehow the cold and flu season doesn't have that sort of hammer type. Ooh,
Right.
It's like, hey, well, we've been through. That's nothing.
That.
But of course, put the two together, it could be worse. Well, Eileen, we're fresh out of time. We wish you the best. Again, let's repeat. New program at Methodist College that is kind of I say gateway, but sort of an entry thing. It's a 4-year. It could be a 4-year program, but you're going to be able to do so many different things with this and get yourself, if you know somebody else that's sort of, hey, I want to do something, I'm not quite sure what, this might be a great way to talk to one of your folks there.
Absolutely.
And get more info on it.
And we have a lot of options, nursing and more.
Nursing and more. Well, that's our theme. Well, Eileen, thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Tarter Sauce.
PeoriaLife.com